Today we're here in Louisville, Kentucky, where we're gonna learn how to make some braised beef short ribs. So follow me and let's meet America. Hey everybody, I'm Joey, and today I'm here in downtown. I say Louisville, you say Louisville, but no matter what you call it, we can all agree that this city is known for one thing: great bourbon. Today, we're gonna visit a restaurant that has 4 locations throughout the state of Kentucky. They focus on serving great bourbon, rye, and tequila, agave, and tacos. That's what we're gonna talk about today. We're gonna learn how to make some incredible braised beef short rib tacos. Sounds absolutely incredible. So follow me as we turn up the heat and cook some meat here at the Agave Rye.
It's fun, it's whimsical, it's a great place to go with the girls, and it's got a fun atmosphere.
Come here about once a week. I love that steak, man. It's a meat thing. And there's cheese, and there's sauce, and what's not to like?
All right, so today I'm here with Chef Rob. He's the executive chef for all 4 locations. What are we cooking today, man?
We are going to be making our short rib, which goes in our Rima di Taco. Short rib is from a cut of the brisket. As you can see, it's nice and fatty. We're going to sear it off in a minute, and then we're going to flavor it with our whiskey and Coke, and then we're going to braise it for about 3-4 hours so it's nice and tender. It's got a lot of sinew tissue in it, so it's very actually tough. It's not like a normal steak like filet or strip or ribeye. I love ribeye myself. This just makes it super tender. And one of my other favorite cuts that really take braising are beef cheeks.
Okay.
Beef cheeks are a cut of meat that not a lot of people know about, but it's really gelatinous and juicy, just like the short rib.
Yeah, you don't see those in the store a whole lot, do you?
No, you don't. Those you have to request.
Speaking of the store, is this a cut that I will find in my local grocery store?
Oh yes, it might be smaller though. It's gonna be in little smaller portions, just so it's consumer friendly. This is a boneless short rib, so on the back side here, as you can see, you got these little platelets here. Right now, there would be a bone in here, and it's actually about 8 inches by 8 inches with the bone. I would do a cut at one of my other places that we would use, called the short rib ossobuco, where we would actually leave the bone in, and the short rib would shrink down and the bone would become exposed. Really makes a great plate presentation.
Almost like a crown roast that you would see with pork.
Yeah,
right?
or lamb or other types of meats that have ribs in them.
Are there different types of beef short ribs besides the boneless and bone-in? I think I've seen them maybe labeled a couple different ways at the grocer.
Char siu ribs or short ribs, spare ribs. That's how they're cut. So if you take a spare rib, they leave all the bones in and they just cut straight across all the way down.
Now, do you trim this up before, or do we just
No, we're just gonna leave it like this. We like it nice and fatty. The fat's what's gonna help our flavor, our sauce. It's gonna render in our meat, and it's gonna help keep the meat juicy. And this right here, you might wanna trim this off, but it actually breaks down and it becomes like butter. What's next with this meat is we're gonna salt, pepper it, and we're gonna take it over to our fry area and our saute area, and we're gonna sear it, get a nice golden sear. What that means is by searing it, it's called Maillard browning, which we're caramelizing the natural sugars in the meat to give that nice crust. You know, as you hear on other stations, brown food tastes good, especially with this. You really wanna have brown food.
And it looks pretty too.
Yes, it will. It will look pretty when it's all said and done.
All right, let's get cooking. Join us for the Meet America podcast presented by Code 3 Spices as we meet experts and discuss incredible stories, business and life advice, meat, of course, and much, much more. Like a bunch of friends gathered around the grill, the meat brings us together, but the conversation will head in exciting directions. Are you ready for an adventure? Follow along every week as we meet America. All right, Chef, what's next, man?
Well, next we're gonna sear our short rib. We got a screaming hot pan. It's all about the heat because you wanna lock in those flavors. We're gonna take our salt and pepper and we're gonna be very generous with it because all that meat, that salt's gotta get down and break into it. So we wanna make sure it's nice and flavorful.
And what do you use, about a 50-50 or is
It's
it?
a 50-50 blend. We use kosher salt and black ground pepper.
And what kind of oil are you using?
Just a vegetable canola oil. We're gonna get it nice and hot. And we're gonna sear the fat side down first. So that's the side here that you see. This will be the bone side, as we talked about earlier. Get it nice in there, and just gonna let it sit.
Can you guys hear that at home? Can you hear that meat sear? That right there, that's the sound of tasty.
So we're just gonna let it sit for a little bit, 5 to 6 minutes, depending on how hot your oven or your pan is. Maybe at home might take 10 minutes, because right now we're using industrial equipment versus home equipment, unless you have one of those fancy stoves at home like a Wolf or a Viking.
Right.
One of those super high-end luxury ones.
Yeah, and while this is searing, this is a great time for you at home to go grab that beer, to go make that drink, grab that glass of wine.
Another thing is you need to grab that whiskey, because that's what we're going to be deglazing with next. This is what we'll be using. We use the Redemption Rye, and this is going to impart some really flavor, bourbon rye whiskey flavor, and that's really going to help give a nice essence to our meat.
Now, am I going to taste that bourbon in the final product?
You'll have a little bit of it. It'll be subtle, but it's there for just that punch, because the meat is so rich that it tends to draw down some of that flavor. And we're gonna cook out the alcohol, as you're gonna see here in a minute. We're gonna get a little spicy with our flame.
All right.
So as you can see, we got a nice brown color here as we're getting nice and cooked. Now you can see the layers are starting to cook and come down. We're also gonna sear off the sides, because you wanna sear all that flavor in and juices.
Now, if I do buy these short ribs in the store and they're already cut, should I still follow the same technique here?
Yes, you still wanna sear all the sides off, sear it in, make sure it's flavorful. Because all you're doing, all this brown is called Maillard browning. It's all the caramelizing the natural sugars in the meat. It's just creating flavor. And the reason why we're creating flavor, and once we deglaze with the whiskey, is we want that fond that's on the bottom of the pan. Technical term for flavor. Everything's flavor, building layers of flavor, searing it, vegetables, using carrots, onions, celery, mirepoix, garlic, rosemary, thyme. We want to punch as much flavor and make a flavorful taco. So when you bite in that taco, it wants you wanting more and more, and you want to come back, and we want you back. Fond, F-O-N-D. So it's just the flavor that's on the bottom of the pan that is created by searing. And usually we have to deglaze it to remove that flavor. So now that we got a nice brownness and coloring,
great.
we're gonna put it with its friends inside. We're actually gonna put the oil in here, kind of get that cooking going.
Pop and sizzle.
Pop and sizzle. It actually helps release the aromatics and the herbs.
Can you tell everyone at home what's in this pan here, along with the short rib?
So in this pan, we have our braised, or our seared short ribs. We have rosemary, fresh thyme, celery, carrots, onions, garlic, and some of our spices and herbs that are also in there.
Right. So can you basically cut those vegetables to your personal flavor, or is there a ratio that you suggest when putting this all together?
Usually it's 25% carrots, 25% celery, 50% onion. So now we got our pan back on the heat.
Okay.
And we're gonna hit it with some whiskey. Now, when you do this at home, make sure you have someone standing in front of the smoke alarm to get away the smoke.
All right,
for you.
let's see it.
So we're gonna pull it off the heat. Always pull your pan off the heat from the open flame.
Okay.
Let it sit.
And step back.
And there we go.
How much whiskey did you use?
About a quarter cup, maybe.
Okay.
Depends on the recipe, how much you do. The more you use, just the more flavor you're gonna get.
And how much whiskey should you drink while you're making this recipe?
A little bit at a time, because you're playing with fire.
All right.
So then we're gonna add our mixture of Coca-Cola, tomato paste, and other secrets. And we're just gonna add this to the pan. And this is what's bringing up all that fond that we talked about earlier.
So we're gonna let this get nice and hot for about how long?
A couple minutes, because the whole thing is it's gonna braise in the oven. So right now we're just trying to get all that flavor off the bottom of the pan. Now that's all boiled off, all our flavor is off, we're just gonna dump it in on top of our meat. Now we need more liquid than that to braise. That's what we're doing now. So we have all our liquid here that we had earlier. Since we're doing such a big batch, all this lovely juices are gonna go in here.
And you said that's a mixture of Coca-Cola,
Tomato paste, stocks, spices, liquids, other things we use, agave. And then we also have our salt pepper mix that we're gonna put in here. All this goes in here because we wanna make sure all the flavor goes in. And then we're gonna wrap it with plastic wrap and foil. We're gonna put it in the oven at 300 degrees for about 3 to 4 hours.
All right, chef, so this has been cooking what, for about 4 hours?
4
now?
hours, yep.
All right, and do we cook the time, or is there some other method we know that the short rib is done?
If you stick a butter knife, not a sharp knife, take a butter knife. If it goes right through with no problem, then you're good to go.
Like a consistency almost of butter.
Yes,
Really?
almost
Okay.
as butter. That's why
Perfect.
butter's our thing. Butter is our thing.
All right, let's see what it looks
All
like.
right, so this is gonna be like unveiling some prettiness. We got some steam. Oh, look at that.
Yeah.
Plastic wrap in the foil. The reason why we use the plastic wrap is it traps that flavor and keeps that steam, almost like a pressure cooker. We got one here. See, look,
Oh, it's falling apart.
falling apart, right? Look at that. So we still got some fat, which is good, and all that fat's gonna go in there. So you can see how it just ripped it right apart. Look at that tenderness. And this is what we're gonna use in our taco. For our sauce here, we'll strain out all the mirepoix, which is our carrots, celery, and onions. As you can see, they've cooked down to almost softness and nothing, especially the onions. You can't find an onion in here to save your life.
And so all that really just helps flavor this broth, which, as you mentioned, we're going to reduce that down.
Yes, we reduce it down, and then we skim off the fat because, you know, kind of watch our figure.
Right.
So that's what we're gonna do next, and now we're gonna go make the remedi in our taco.
Let's check it out.
All right.
Wow, Chef, these look truly amazing. So tell me, I know the braised beef is in there. What else is going on here? Can you
We
tell me
have
about
salt and pepper fries, our bourbon ketchup, and our tobacco onions. Tobacco onions are crispy onions with chili powders, garlic, salt, pepper, really flavorful.
it? Okay, and you guys are known here for truly epic tacos. Can you
Yes.
tell us a little bit more about that? I mean, we can see it right here. That looks truly
Oh,
epic.
what also makes it epic is our love cushion here that we have. This one has queso on it, and this has our borracho beans.
Oh, very
And our
nice,
beans
man.
are made from scratch and it's cooked in beer. Or cerveza, as they like to say.
Well, I can't wait to dig in, and there's really no polite way to do this. I'm just gonna get a little messy. I'm gonna go for this guy right here. It has the queso, and I might need a couple mouths to take a
Yep.
bite.
And while he's enjoying that taco, what else makes our tacos epic is our crown jewel, which has our mac and cheese, portobello mushrooms, our butter poached lobster, and white truffle oil. And then we have our deep fried Brussels sprouts, Dijon aioli, Parmesan cheese, and our toasted almonds. All this makes an epic meal.
Oh, and speaking of epic, that is exactly what this taco is. You get the tenderness of the meat, hit with all that flavor, the crispiness of the onions. You're pulling through that crispy taco shell, and then the saltiness of the fries. Truly remarkable taco,
Yeah,
Chef.
thank you.
Well done.
Taco shells are all made from scratch in-house too.
Yeah, I saw that. I'm gonna try these Brussels sprouts over here. Look at that at home.
It's deep fried, and then once it comes out of the fryer, we toss in our Dijon aioli, Parmesan cheese, and then we finish it with some toasted almonds.
Awesome. Man, you bite into that, you get the crispiness of the Brussels sprouts. You're hit with the sweetness of that aioli, and a little bit of creaminess with the cheese, the aioli, and a little bit more crunch with the almonds. Look, I can't wait to finish my tacos here and dig into this taco right over here. Looking forward to it. Only thing I can say to you guys at home is if you're in Louisville or any of the other locations
Yep.
throughout Kentucky,
Yep, 3 in Kentucky. We have Lexington, Louisville, and Covington. And we also have one in Liberty, Cincinnati Town Center.
and I think we got a few more coming to a market
Yeah, we got
near
more
you.
coming to you soon.
Awesome. Well, again, if you're near any of these locations, stop in, check out one of these epic tacos, and I can tell you the Brussels sprouts are amazing. Chef,
Thank
awesome
you.
job,
Thank
brother.
you for coming here,
Yeah.
and thanks for having us.
Thank you, man.
Have an epic day.
If you want to make whiskey and Coke short rib tacos right at home, just follow these steps. Begin with boneless beef short ribs, or you can substitute beef cheeks. Season with a 50-50 mix of kosher salt and black pepper. Get your skillet piping hot and then add vegetable oil, just enough to coat the surface. Sear the ribs to a golden brown color on all sides, beginning with the fat side first. While the short ribs are searing, get a separate pan and line with a mirepoix base using a 2:1:1 ratio of onions to carrots to celery. Next, add rosemary, thyme, and garlic to the mirepoix. Now, remove the brown meat and place in the pan on top of the vegetables and herbs. Pour the remaining oil in the pan over the short ribs. Now, deglaze the pan with whiskey, but be sure to add the whiskey while the pan is removed from the flame. Now pour the heated whiskey into the pan with the other ingredients. Add a mixture of Coca-Cola, tomato paste, and beef stock to the pan, enough to almost, but not completely, cover the short ribs. Now wrap the top of the pan with plastic wrap first, and then again with foil. Heat your oven to 300 degrees Fahrenheit and place the mixture in the oven for 3 to 4 hours. You'll know when the short ribs are done when you can easily pierce them with a butter knife. Remove the ribs from the sauce and shred to build a truly epic taco. And remember, Chef Rob did not provide exact amounts for the home cook, so head over to redmeatlover.com where we've included volume recommendations. And today's pro tip to turn up the tasty: mirepoix is a flavor base which consists of a ratio of 25% carrots, 25% celery, and 50% onion, and this is used in a wide variety of stocks, soups, and sauces. I hope you had a great time with Chef Rob, like I did, learning how to turn up the tasty with those truly remarkable braised beef short ribs, and how about those epic tacos? Where should I go next? Let me know in the comments below. And while you're there, you guys know the drill. Go ahead and hit that big thumbs up like button, or even better, subscribe to our channel so you'll never miss another adventure as we travel the country to meet America.